I have my friend Gayathra here, and if you don't know him, he is one of the people we got connected because of the work that he's doing. I really love what he does and the heart that he puts into his work. He's someone that I really I learn from when it comes to Facebook ads, and he's managed a lot. He's worked with a lot of clients in different niches, and today I'm bringing him on to speak with us about Facebook ads, Meta, Instagram for people who are looking to optimize their game, especially when it comes to offers, because one of the things is you can promote your offers live with an organic traffic, but if you really want to scale, then you start need to think about paid traffic. So Gatra, welcome to the stream and happy to thanks for joining in.
Hey, thanks, Alex. Thanks for the introduction, and also thank you for the invitation. I think we've been knowing each other for quite some times, and you also helped me a lot with my own stuff. So most done. So thank you so much for that.
No worries. And one so just to jump straight into it, let's say someone wants to launch an offer, right? So they found an idea of an offer that they want to run. How what should they do first? What exactly is the process when it comes to maybe testing the ad? Do they need to? How will you approach it? Let's say someone is just starting out new, they have a new offer, they want to test it out. Which type of offers do you see being that's working right now that you believe they should start out with, or the misconceptions about Facebook ads that people currently have?
Yeah, yeah. So when you say offer, is it like so? Just to get the scenario right. So this is not a proven offer, is it? Is it? It's not
No,
validated.
so
Validated
something
yet.
that they've not yet
Okay.
like proven a new offer, something like
Okay.
they just got the idea, hey, this is a cool offer, I think
Yeah.
some people be interested in.
Mm,
Let me see if people
yeah.
let me see if I can create a
Yeah.
product and then have people buy it. So what is like
Yeah.
for someone like that, how would they
Right.
go about that?
Right. I think, I mean, I mean, you can separate even the product, like, for example, even if you have a physical product and even if you have the, like, a information info product, I think essentially, I mean, most of the people do, they don't create stuff. Even, for example, I think back in the days, I remember, even, for example, the program I did like January, I, I didn't have a program. Like,
Mm,
I just said like, hey, I have this thing. Would you like to like buy if you think it's valuable? So who wants to join? And there was a lot of interest. So I just simply just put a like a system a funnel with a like a front end like a 20 minutes thing. So like and capture the leads only, but 150, 200 emails I got. And then take it from there. Now, for the, I mean, what we used to do before, like for example, if you get product things, it's the same thing for the that thing as well. What we used to do is that we would run like literally like very small campaign with a very small budget.
mm,
Just like we have this product, we don't say we don't have it. We say we have it, and we get the interest of someone saying, "Hey, here's my money. I want to buy this." And then, of course, you don't charge them. You say like,
mm,
"Hey, we just ran out of the product." So we are kind of build the list and we are kind of validating, right?
okay.
Because it's a kind of sucky place for you to like you don't want to charge the people and say, okay, let's give us 10
Mm,
working days or something. We'll say like, oh, we just ran out. We are in the process of getting more. So you're kind of like building a list. That kind of work, I think, this is something that the people who are doing product line has been using selling products has done before, and I think it's the same thing for the that one as well. So instead of maybe try to get more of a conversations going, I think that's the most important part when you are at least at the initial level,
mm.
because since you're not really sure of in terms of what's going to happen, so let it open like a discussion where someone says, "Oh, what do I get?" And they're gonna come up with a certain objection.
Actually, you were talking about what it takes, especially when we are when you want to run an offer. One of the things that you mentioned was testing the offer, but then you're not charging the people, so you're telling them that hey, we're out of stock basically. So currently you're just like putting them in on a wait list, and once you get the interest, then come then launch the product. So usually
Yeah.
when you do that, are you doing that for physical products or is different for digital products?
Right. I think when it comes to that, I think it makes more sense for like digital products also, because at the end of the day, I mean, for me, I mostly work with people who have like solid products. I mean, they have sold the product before, so we don't have to do that
Recording
unless
in progress.
they're launching something brand new. But when it comes to, I think, for example, if you get people like us who have we have our own offers, you are thinking of putting out our own offer or creating with someone. So I think the first thing, of course, as you said, is to kind of validate it, because if you don't validate it, you can't, like, you don't not sure whether you can sell it or not. So the of course, the ideal scenario would be you start with organic, so you kind of test it out with water and get the feedback, and then of course open it out to the paid, because unless you have like a lot of money, like you
Mm,
are fine burning that at the front to get the data, because I mean most of the, of course, some people think that if you shouldn't be running directly campaigns, like paid campaigns, but essentially you are getting a certain learning from it, even if you don't get the certain outcomes just right away, right? You get certain traffic, you get in certain like a building audience, and all of that you're getting. And even if you're trying something, you're at least finding these other things that are working. But of course, if you're starting out, if you don't have a huge budget, it can be a little bit costly to learn that, right? So it
yeah.
makes more sense if you're someone who's starting and you're a little bit more conscious about your budget and you want to minimize that. So you validate organic for sure, and then simply roll it out for the paid. So I've seen, I mean, even for me, I'm in the process of doing that. I mean, a lot of, if you even use like Instagram, like small reels where you drive a little bit of engagement and you ask people to, if you want this, comment, like, and they do that, and you do a menu chat automation and get them to opt in lead, and just building a list, because
Mm,
that's the great thing to do. And potentially, if you can even push that back to a group where you can nurture and lead, now you have like a list to work on, and now it's far more easier and less costly for you to validate it. But again, it's more of a, are you willing to put a little more time and effort at the front to build that and validate, and maybe a little bit more smoothly, but it take time. But you don't want to do that, but you want to jump straight to the campaigns, but you can do that, but it can be a little bit costly if you have a lot of money. Yeah.
yeah.
But
Yeah. Yeah. So
for most of the people, I think, yeah,
yeah. So for most of my audience, most of them are like just like starting out, like they are copywriters, funnel
yeah,
builders, maybe some business owners.
yeah,
Let's say
yeah,
someone maybe they have maybe their budget is 1,000 US dollars. So for that amount of budget, how should they go about like testing a new product, testing a new maybe a digital offer? Let's say, for example, they want to launch an
mhm,
offer maybe in the
mhm,
maybe in the survival niche. They want to create an offer in a survival
yeah,
niche, and then they want to test out the offer.
yeah.
Like, they've how much are they looking at to spend to like get real data that hey, this is a product that people are interested in, that then they can go out and then build their actual product.
Yeah. So are you referring to like they have like a digital product
Yes.
where
So
someone can purchase, or the,
yes, so
okay.
it's
All
a
right,
digital
great.
product like a course digital offer.
Yeah. Yeah, if it's a, I mean, it's a front end low cost. I mean, for me, I directly went for a more of a mid ticket. I mean, in my countries, $100 is a kind of a little bit of a ask. It's
Mm,
not a small amount. Might be in US, it might be like not that much, but in here, $100 is so I would say my one is a little bit of more of a mid product, a more of a mid ticket product. We also we did run some campaigns as well. So what I'm seeing is that if you're starting that level, if you're specifically going for the low ticket, I mean, essentially what we're trying to do is that to break even, right? Because we
yeah.
are getting someone who's qualified and a buyer, and we are kind of like building that buyers list. So if that's the case, what I would do is that, I mean, if you have $1,000, if you just divide by 30 days, you get a certain item, roughly is about $30, let's say, for example. No, not that much. Okay. Let me
Mm,
look, let me quickly do. So it's about $1,000. You divide that by 30, we are getting about, yeah, $33 and
okay.
36 cents, right? So that is like a decent amount. But what I also seeing where people are struggling is that when it comes to targeting, like, if is this product specifically designed for a particular region,
Mm,
or is it something you can open out to? Because this is something I've seen. I've seen people do this as well. I had a, like a even a website person, like a one of the partners I work with. He offered like a lead gen campaigns directly for like his website services where he built the funnels and website. He got ton of leads when he opened it out, and the most of the leads he got really like not so good, and they were unable to get them on the
Mm.
call, and that they were like haggling for prices. But the moment he was intentional with certain regions, the entire problem disappeared, because
Okay.
that's also factor into that, because ideally if you're clear this offer is created for this particular market, it makes more sense, because then your pricing point and your offer, your features, everything is designed to that region, right?
Mm.
So it makes more sense. Otherwise you're going to get a lot of clicks and some things happening, but people aren't buying.
Mm-hmm.
And the worst part is that you are interpreting that as your offer sucks,
Okay.
you know,
Okay.
because that's a kind of bad thing, because that's what I said, if you're building something, be a little bit more specific. Is it something that anyone across, like, because you can create like a very mass appeal product, right? Even whether
Mm-hmm.
it's local or it's international, it's still a lot of value, and it covers all the bases. So I think if that's the thing, I think ideally what you do is that if that is $30 place, for example, it's about $7 per, like your cost per like front end is $7, just an example.
Mm.
So that means you can like, if we divide that 33 by just seven, we are getting about four sales, roughly four to five within that range. That means you can at least start with a two ads, right? Because
Okay.
ideally trying to do is that to find what kind of works at that level where you can scale. Like, because even for the media buyer as myself, the hardest thing is not the structure or the what's happened behind the campaign. It's about actually coming up with like angles and concepts that get clicks and convert.
Mm.
Because if you can, like, because usually if you, when I talk to a lot of agencies and even myself, and I look at it, usually in an agency also the hit rate is about 20 to 25%. Like, even if it's a good one, that means they have to at least create five ads to get one to work. And that's
Mm.
pretty normal, right?
Okay.
Sometimes some people do is that they just create two and they're like, oh, it's not work. But you're like, dude, like no one finds good ads just like that. That's a sad reality, because that's how it is. When I look at most of our, even the back ends of our campaigns and the clients, and for the last 5, 6, 7 years, what I see is that most of the time the entire results is carried by maybe 20% of the ads, right?
Mm.
Entire 80% of it, because we call these the unicorn ads, because they actually are really great. They're really like, Facebook loves it too. So it has a really low like CPM, like for the impression, how much you had to pay, and it also get the job done. It converts. So you have to. That's the thing, because when you're starting out, you need to try to aim to find what works as soon as possible with a decent amount of spend.
Mm.
Because if it's $30 within a week, you'll be able to slightly idea what kind of work. So what I, at least for my end, what I do is that, again, based on the marketplace, I will have problem aware and solution aware ads, right? My classification is very different, because what I want to do is that when I'm writing a campaign, like when I'm doing anything, what I do is that I create concepts. The concept is very simple. Is that one, what is my mass market desire, right? So for example, because your product might have different mass market desires. For example, it might be, I want to earn more, or I want
Mm.
to find more free time, or I want to whatever. So there's a
Yeah.
lot of mass market desires. And then the concept, okay, this is the mass market desire, and what is the awareness level? So someone did this market desire, then if they're problem aware ad, are you going to create a solution aware ads? And
Mm.
then the next one is that, okay, if you're doing that, okay, what is the sophistication level? What have these guys seen before,
Mm.
like in that region? So, because these are the main three things you need to figure out when you're creating an ad. What is the mass market deserve behind it? And what is the awareness level you're trying to tap into? And what they have seen before. And that kind of gives you the kind of blueprint to what is the hook, what is the headline. And then you're very clear when you write anything. Because what I see sometimes is that some ads, it's like a mixture of everything. Like it's just all over the place. One aspect is a very problem aware, one aspect is like a most aware, like one is talking about something else, and it's a, kind of confusing. Because what we do, I mean, when we create ads, we have like Excel form, we have the all these columns, and we track each concepts. So when one concepts win, we mark it and we know exactly why it's winning. This is the mass
Mm,
market desire. This is the awareness level, and this is sophistication. So now we have created more of a recipe for us, kind of concept what works. Now it's much easier for you to produce what works. But
mm-hmm,
if you're just guessing and you're thinking, oh, that sounds good, let's do that. You're not When you're not intentional, it's very difficult to kind of create something, right?
mm,
So that's what we do. We have all the concepts, and after a while, when you do certain testing, we will exactly know what market decide works, and where we need to enter in the ad, also problem aware or solution aware. For example, if you're trying to get more people, they are not productive, they don't know about your product. So either
mm,
solution aware, problem aware, and then of course sophistication. You see in the products out there, and what kind of claim you have to make. You have to really dramatize the claim. You want to have a new mechanism. I mean, of course, the challenge is that for info products owners, the market is pretty sophisticated, right? It's like, because we are dealing with people just like us. You are, no
mm-hmm,
marketing and
yeah,
trying to just drum up new things. It's kind of a clever way, because for the last, if I say last 1 or 2 months, I've been observing all the ads. I've seen the same offer, for example, low ticket offers sold in thousand different ways. I see
mm,
some guy talking about how to, what is it? Escape from the agency trap. So he's positioning that one the low ticket offer as a way of gathering potential clients and kind of building a lead list, but for agencies. I
mm-hmm,
see someone doing for Instagram Reels. I saw someone doing for the female. So again, the same offer, just very, very specific about who the person is, what the desire, and
yeah,
where you want to enter, and then you create that product with that, and it works. And after a while, when you run the campaigns with this budget, you're definitely going to have an idea of what works, and then you can double down on what works and create more of the different varieties. Videos, use like static carousels, you try whatever. Yeah, so that's basically the kind of very generalized, like a bird's view of that thing.
yeah. That's awesome. Like I have a lot of like questions based on what you just shared. So one of the questions is, so with the testing, we mentioned about like the recipe, the concept. Are we doing this like in the
Mm.
ad level or like the big picture campaign, like maybe the overall, like you open up you are creating an ad, like are we the concept, do you break them down into different campaigns, or you have it in one
Okay.
campaign and then you have it like in
Right.
the art section? How are you doing that?
Yeah. So, right. So, I mean, let me tell you, I mean, Facebook is going through a kind of a, what can I say, transition. You've probably seen that
Mm-hmm.
there are a set of people who are saying, oh, like broad targeting is thing, who does interest targeting anymore? And then you have a set of people who are saying, oh, interest targeting, I don't trust Facebook. Like, it's kind of different kind of extremes, I would say.
Yeah.
I think when it comes to, you have to look at more of a point of, am I getting what I want? And
Mm-hmm.
I'd rather do what get me the results most than just deciding whether something is wrong or bad. For example, because I've tried both of these, broad and interest, and it's mixed, to be honest, right? Because it's mixed, to be honest, because there are certain products that can work exceptionally well in broad. For example, if you get clothing, why clothing work, you don't have to put any interest. It's like a product that resonates with anyone, and you don't need to explain anything. Facebook has thousands of pixel data, from the stores. So if you put interest, that's going to only hinder you. But if you are creating a product for a very specific kind of person who are like CEOs and who make seven figures, that's a very specific audience.
Yeah.
Facebook, even with all the copy, how Facebook work is that it optimizes based on results, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because the more people take action, more it refines. For example, for an ad, if you get 10 purchases versus if you have an ad that has 100 purchases, the learning is significant in 101. Now the cost is lower because now it has more data to find more similar people.
Mm-hmm.
So what I end up happening is that when you are for a very specific product, for local, like even for sometimes local businesses, when you are not being intentional with like go broad, because that's what everyone says. What I've seen is that you have to spend a chunk of money at the front for
Hmm.
Facebook to learn, because it's gonna, because since it has no idea exactly who this person is, it's not a, like a like a cookie cutter product like anyone else. So it needs to show your ad to different kind of people to get that idea. So your cost and your cost of purchase will come down, but it's going to take some time and a lot of money to get there,
Yeah.
right? So what I would usually do is that if I'm launching it now, because for example I have a UK client, so they do education consulting, right? At the time everyone was saying to go broad, and I just launched my campaign in broad. I spent about 30 to $50. We know that historically our qualified lead ratio is about $3 to $4 range. Our cost per lead was $18. I'm like, that's huge, like that's a lot,
Mm.
right? So what I did, I stopped it. I relaunched the campaign with some interest because these are the people we know.
Yeah.
Suddenly the cost per lead is about four. Right? Now
Wow.
imagine if I go open and I believed, oh, my ad sucks, because Facebook's supposed to figure it out, but my ad should suck because that's why I'm getting like my cost per lead is very high.
Mm.
But the other nuance is that, of course, what I at least do is that I test with interest when it comes to very specific products. And then when it's proven, then I go broad.
Okay.
Because
Okay.
now, because I know that this works with these groups. So now I can allow Facebook to go broad. Otherwise, I'm not allowing Facebook to just learn like from the even the worst ad and spend my money on like thinking it will work. We can't work with that, right? So that's something I work. So one campaign, what I would do is that, for example, if it's a very mass market product, again, I'm talking something like clothes and stuff like that. But for info products, again, you have to determine whether it's like my product is a very generalized info product or kind of very specific one. So if that's the case, I would start with interest targeting and I put like very direct keywords. For example, if you're setting an offer for something like people who I don't know, people who are creators Instagram, or like Instagram, creators, influencers, like very direct keywords that I know for a fact that most of the people are going to be here.
Mm.
And then I create, what I do is that we call this like uh, we can call it like a stack of creatives. For example, let's say my interest, I have only one interest. For example, let's say you can stack like relevant key interest.
Okay.
My first ad set, let's say for example, I create a concept for problem aware with this kind of hook. Okay, then I come up with maybe two, three creatives uh, for that concept,
Yeah.
and I put it there. And then I duplicate the same thing again, and then for the next one I have the next concept, right? And I also at the ad level I really label them as, because I have a unique ID for each ad, so I know that okay, this is this market desire, this problem aware, this is the hook, so I know that exact that ad is. So what I do is that you can do the CBO campaign where you place the ad at the campaign level and you're going to run. Okay. So what's going to happen is this. You're going to realize there's a few mixed things. For example, one, Facebook going to give budget to some ads, and also, sorry, within some, the Facebook going to give budget to some of the ad set, and also very few specific ads, not for everything.
Mm.
Now, this is Facebook way of saying this is what I find has a likelihood of working is very high. I see a lot of potential in that. So that's a
Yeah.
good sign in a way. Because what I've seen is that most of the time, the ads Facebook give budget to tend to be most of the time this more scalable. Because the reason is that you might find a few ads here and there. Their cost of purchase is really good and their ROAS is exceptionally well, but Facebook is not giving money.
Mm.
Okay, the reason is this ad is most likely going to appeal to a very small subsection of
Okay.
people, either people who are engaged or something like that. So even though the at the ad level you see exceptional results and ROAS, if since the Facebook is not giving money, what it's saying is that I don't see a lot of, I don't see a pathway for it to be scalable, right?
Mhm.
So these are actually good ads. Like if you've seen an ad that good results but not spending, that's more of a retargeting ad. I would use that, right?
Yeah.
Because yeah, so that's what happens. So you have to look at, okay, whether Facebook gave my money to this ad, yes or no. Yes, then they have seen the potential. Next, second thing, Have I hit my ROAS or whatever target? For example, you say, okay, I want to break even. Okay. That means I need to, for example, say I need to hit one ROAS. That means every dollar I spend, I'd make a dollar. I'm even that's my like let's say for example that's my least objective objective result. I want to like at least break even because I'm anyway getting a like a legal lead, right? So you can establish that and increase as you go. But maybe let's say your right now ROAS is one like one. So then you have to look at that ad and say, okay, did this hit the target? If yes, then it's a good ad
Mm-hmm.
because I
Mm-hmm.
know. And also you have to give enough. I mean, again, it's based on the campaign and the business. It might different. I would at least like to see about at least 10 purchases for it to within at least 7 days of 10 purchases to kind of see whether it's kind of working. Because there are sometimes some ads, they get some conversions right away and they just drop like it's just disappear.
Okay.
Again, the reason being is that sometimes there's a very close people, who have kind of engaged with your content before, they get converted right away. But now that now goes truly to that cold audience, right? So you don't want to make that decision very like really fast just because because you see like 2 3 conversions right away. At least run it for 7 days. The reason why it's 7 days is that because it covers the whole behavioral change of a human being,
Okay.
because we don't make the purchasing decisions the way I mean it's not like a linear path, right? Every day 5 purchases, but that never happens. I have clothing clients. I have a particular clothing brand. She gets the least amount of sales on Monday, but that's a
Mm.
behavior, right? Now she's saying, okay, let's like increase the budget on Monday. I'm like, don't do that because people are not buying that. They are not making that decision. Maybe probably they are starting the day or like the
Yeah.
weekday,
On.
and they are not in that buy mode. They're just kind of going back to work. So just don't try to overspend. They're not gonna convert
Yeah.
because we increase. It's more of a behavior than something we can eradicate with spending, right?
Yeah.
So those are kind of things I would do. And then based on that, what I do is that if I see like a winner, I usually try to, in there's a new concept called Advantage Plus campaigns.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
This is
I've
usually,
been
yeah,
seeing. I've been seeing a lot of people
yeah,
talk about that lately. So I was like, come to ask you, okay, what are the new changes happening on Facebook that you think have
yeah.
the potential of like getting results? And it just like took it out of my mind.
Yeah. So Advantage Plus, I've seen again, it's not 100% scenario. It
Mm.
usually works exceptionally well when it comes to scaling. So even
Mm.
for e-commerce, what I do is that of course Advantage campaign is more of a like a shopping campaign or Advantage lead campaign. They're more of a streamlined version of the same thing, right? So you only have like 2 layers. You don't gonna have ad set level. So ad set level, the front the sorry campaign layer and asset level has been combined to one layer, and then you have the next layer is that. That's all the two things you have. You can't target or do anything. If you want any specific kind of changes you want to do for like for example um people about 48 years of old won't convert. If you have very much hard constraints, in the Facebook as well, you have thing called account settings. You can put some of your hard constraints so it applies to the entire to your entire ads, campaigns, right? So you can do certain like that. So what I do is that when something is succeed, I duplicate that ad and then bring that to that advantage campaign, open campaign,
Okay.
with the comments and shares. You can actually pull those details back to that campaign as ad as well, so you're not missing out on the likes and comments. Right, back in the days we used to kind of get the post ID and
ID. Yeah.
then kind of, but the problem with that method was that when you get a post ID, that post ID belonged to a one concept. That means one ad, one headline, one placement. So if you get the post ID of a, for example, news feed, that ad won't be delivered in other placements. So you are kind of removing some of your inventory, right?
Yeah.
So even though it has a lot of great potential in terms of the shares and likes and the engagement, it's a good ad, but because of it's missing out on a certain inventory and placements, it can in the long run the cost might be a little bit higher because you're not allowing to get more reach from other
Mm.
sections. So that's the basic thing I'm looking at usually. Nothing. I try to make it as simple as possible because otherwise, I know sometimes some people have very overcomplicated setups,
Yeah,
and I mean, it sounds good, but in the long term, it becomes very difficult to manage, and you're likely to suffer a lot from efficiency and ineffectiveness, like
yeah,
ineffectiveness.
yeah.
Um, yeah.
Awesome, awesome. And like something to like just like close on the note. Let's say for the offer that people run, I've heard that let's say you want to test the ad, you should spend the amount that you should spend like the total funnel amount. So let's say the amount, yeah, yeah, let's say the front end is 7, and then maybe you have some bumps, and all it's up to maybe
Mm,
$40. And most people say that you should spend $40 for that. Is
mm.
does that hold true, or you should like spend the minimum to get the best result? Like, what are your thoughts on that?
I've also thought about it a lot. I mean, I'm in the process of also like launching my thing. I mean, I wouldn't say I'm like a master of understanding
Mm,
this, but what I've seen so far is that, I don't know also talk about it, and I believe that's truth because right now there's more competition more than ever, and people switch their products. Like the product loyalty, even though we want it to happen, it's not that much because people who even here we have a lot of retail businesses like supermarkets, and they have done a survey and they have said they don't see any particular loyalty between these chains because people go for particular shops for certain things. They avoid that for another thing. So
yeah,
they are kind of altered their behavior to say, okay, if I want this kind of thing, I go to this guy, but I can't this get this from this guy. So all of this combined, what I'm seeing is that ideally, even for example, the e-commerce businesses like him or her, they did it. What they said is that they spend about 70% of their budget at the first 2 years literally acquiring customers. They didn't care about profit at all
okay,
because they realized supplement is very hard. They wanted to get someone foot in the door, and they knew their product is solid, and and they made money from the retention. I think uh, it's okay to like optimize to get like the acquire customer as low as possible. I mean, that's a dream scenario, right? But as long as if you everything combined, if your average order value, let's say for example $50, again, as long as you are, even if you're like sacrificing the entire thing, and if you are breaking even at the front, if you have a really good upsell and a program and stuff like that, that's a good. Even for me, I just did one product, right? I just did like a because this is something people wanted, but I see a lot of potential in the rest of the stuff because people are saying,
in
yeah,
your own art spend. We were talking, you were giving
yeah,
some advice on like what you guys are currently doing and what you are seeing work.
yeah.
Yes, sir.
Oh yeah. So I'm also in the process of doing that. So I'm not gonna say like I've cracked up like cracked the full system when it comes to the low ticket because I'm actually building it right now. But what I'm seeing at least what makes sense to me is that the way I look at the business, because if you look at this is just a revenue source, of course I see. Even if you're doing like two ROAS, that's kind of decent. At least you are kind of doubling the spend, right? Because when it comes to info products, the good thing is that it you don't like there's no cost like recurring cost for you like unless for
Mm,
the text stuff and all of that, so your margins are pretty high, right? So with that, I think even if you get the ads to work, uh, earning like a decent amount of from the front end is like possible because I've seen people like doing like a lot of stuff. And for example, Jeff, from the ads, what is it called? Agency
yeah, yeah, yeah,
secrets,
yeah.
agency secrets.
Jeff
Yeah,
Miller.
I've seen his ad. Yeah, Jeff. So I've gone to some of the programs as well. So he's pretty doing well with his front end one. I've gone to the funnel as well. And I know for a fact that he's also focused, and I've seen it. It's not about that $5, right? It's not that $5. I've seen he have a lot of high ticket one for 5,000, 10,000, 7,500, and a lot of upsells happening at the brand. So he has that sequence dialed up. I think that's where he makes actual money. He had like one deep retention call. So that's the kind of structure also I'm thinking at the moment, because um, it was a good ride. I launched my thing uh, I like nothing fancy, just very basic.
Yeah.
The good thing was that I had like a pre-existing audience who knew me. So
Mm-hmm.
we had about 100 registrations. We just 10K, just like, it's just seeing 6 days, 6 days we did that. But I know that now it's more about building a sort of a business than just one-off purchases, because I've seen that happening, because I had a few clients as well who were here, like they were like millionaires. Like when I said they had a few programs, it's about, I would say in dollars, it would be about 15 to $20 program. So it's not like a huge amount. They had a really good claim. They made a killing in COVID time. Their program, like they had about more than 100,000 students from here. They teach English. When they came to me, the biggest problem they had was that they were saying our revenue right now down to about 50% down,
Wow.
right? And I looked at the business. What I realized is that they have one they after that, now 2019, like some time back, right, there are a lot of other products that come into the marketplace with different claims, and they also returning customer rates and stuff like horrible. Like they get reviews like zero reviews, because their front end claim is bigger, but people didn't really get much value for them to like talk about it or recommend anyone. So the biggest problem for me then was that how can we sustain? So they'll just simply looking at how they can, I can do more better as, so they can drive the results. But the issue again was coming from the same thing, is that most of the people, when even we ran the campaigns, they were like same bullshit. Like, oh, this is a bad product. Like this is a bad thing. It was very difficult to change that. Right? So what I told them was that they should have, because the one of the most requested stream coming from the students, for example, this program is for speaking English, right? So spoken English, right? So the basically what they were asking from these guys that we want to practice it. They didn't have
Mm.
like a place to practice. So I just told them, like, why can't you just create a recurring program? You have like groups and you kind of do certain activities and just charge about even $10 for, like, it's not a huge ask. At least if you converted 20% of your ones, I mean, they have like a sustainable business.
Yeah.
Because I, especially for a business like local businesses, if your returning customer rate sucks, like it's done. Like
Mm-hmm.
your business, you can't have a business. Your business gonna be dead in like few years. So I've seen it happening again and again. When I see the businesses that have been survived for a longer period of time, the number one thing I say is that they have a returning base and a recurring products.
Yeah.
Otherwise, they just drop after a while. So what I'm saying is that front end give value, uh, build that trust, and back ends have something solid, something good, and some recurring options. And I think that's going to be much better than all of that.
That's awesome. So like building value and what you said about like English, like the English tuition is like is on point because if you want to learn English, you want to be become any better at like any like language because I worked with like like a tutoring business like that and one of the things that they really emphasize on is like practicing English. You can watch other tutorials on
Mm.
YouTube, but if you don't practice it, you are not learning anything.
Yeah,
You're just like wasting your time. So you're on
yeah,
point on like giving that advice to your client. So as a final note, like you're in Sri Lanka and then you've been able to like generate like tens of millions for your client and you've managed this amount of dollars.
yeah.
What's your number one advice? Let's say you should go back to your youthful self. Would you give to you let's say 10 years 10 years like in the past? What is that one advice you'd give yourself?
Okay. I think that would be, most of us, we start from um, learning about one particular thing, right? It's maybe copywriting. I started with ads. Some people start with this year, right? Um, Learn beyond your scope, because this is what I see happening again and again. Digital marketing is a lot of stuff, right? It's a lot of stuff. It's a lot of combined stuff. I know great funnel designers, but they're struggling because sometimes they don't know the rest of the stuff. I know
Mm,
great copywriters, they're struggling because they don't know how the rest of the stuff gets, like, it combines. Because what we do, paid ads, it's a one part of like a basically it's like the front end of the bridge, right? I can build it like really nice, but if I have no idea about the funnel and copywriting, I see a lot of media by myself. I mean, back in the days, they're looking at the campus, oh my god, and all of that. Sometimes it's not a campaign problem at all,
Mm,
right? And sometimes the conversion issue. Sometimes the copywriting stuff. Sometimes the website just takes about 5 seconds, 6 7 to load. Right? That's subtle thing like that. And sometimes client think that the problem is this dude, but they are not the problem.
mm,
But I mean, the reason the biggest shift happened to me was that I started looking at. I'm not just the funnel guy. I started learning about funnels. Sorry, I'm not just the paid ad guys. I started about learning on the funnels and also the flows and automation that side and all everything and the copyright side. I'm not a good copywriter by the way, but that gave me a huge idea about okay, this might be not working because of this because I
mm.
knew a little bit beyond that campaign because otherwise you're gonna think everything one dimensional and you're gonna stress yourself and client gonna blame everything on you.
Yeah,
So
and you get fired at the end, and then you come back
yeah, I mean
and then
like,
you start like
and the
complaining
worst
about
part
something.
is, yeah, and the worst part is sometimes you are not the problem.
Yeah.
That's not your problem. And yeah,
Amazing, amazing. Thank you so much for like sharing your knowledge, man. Like really, really appreciate it. One because like without traffic, without people seeing the offer that you put out there, it's going to be very difficult for people to buy. So traffic is like number one thing that people like get stuck on. Okay, I want to build an offer, but then okay, how do I get people to see it? So thanks for like sharing your recipe, like the concept, like how you go about like creating these arts, and also thanks for like sharing your advice, man. I really, really appreciate it. I believe the audience would also find this valuable as well. And yeah, if anyone has any question, you can reach out to Gayathra. I'll share his link in the comments or description, and you can reach out to him. And if you have any questions at all about Facebook ads, anything, he's your guy. I cannot recommend this guy enough. He has a big heart, like he has a big heart for anyone who is interested. Like that's like one of the things that I really love about Gatra, and then the work that he does. He's currently building an agency, so if you're also like interested in getting on board, you can reach out to him and then see if you're fit. So yeah, thanks for jumping on, man.
yeah, thanks, Dennis. Thanks you for your time. Thank you for the invitation. And I see you giving a lot of value for a lot of people. So that's great. I mean, some of the things even I learn from you, like I sometimes, I mean, not every time, but I go through your some of the emails as well.
Mm,
I see your content, and there's a massive value. I would say that keep putting that out because even
okay.
that's why I reached out to like Alex. I didn't see anything from
Yeah.
Alex, so great. So I mean, I hope to see you more stuff in the future. So again, with
Awesome.
that, thank you so much. Thank you, everyone.